cracking the top 20 and building the dominant kind of defense that Pelini has always had wherever he has coached in college football.
Mike is just like him handing out last night in the meetings, the black shirts, giving them back to the unit. I just thought a real nice timely move.
Yes.
As a former player, he understands what that means going into a game like this.
Mike Leach needs this win today to stay above 500 in the Big 12. That high-powered passing offense has led the nation in passing yards for 6 of his first 9 years. Stevens and Zuzalik are deep to receive for Texas Tech. Nebraska won the toss and deferred. And Kanalik, one of the best kickoff guys in the country, bombs his 18th touchback of the season. It's strength against strength. The Texas Tech offense, number 2 in the country. The Nebraska defense, number 2 in the country. 8 points a game. Texas Tech usually has 8 points before they hit the field.
Well, they'll earn them today if they happen against this defense.
Steven Sheffield, the former walk-on, starts at quarterback. And starts with a perfect throw out in the flat to Alex Torres, who is the leading receiver on this club. He has his 32nd catch.
Well, the impact players today. Brandon Carter at right guard going against Mr. Sue. He will have his hands full. He must play every snap. Baron Batch, downhill runners, very strong. And Bron Bird on defense, leading his defensive players.
Flanker screen again. Torres with blockers in front, and he'll pick up about 6 yards.
Pretty quick, you can already notice how fast this Tech offense, how quick they are to the line of scrimmage, the pressure they try to put on a defense, and especially in personnel matchups.
You'll notice one thing about Sue, number 93. He gets in his stance very late. That time he may have jumped. And the reason he has done that, he understands the game so very, very well. He is waiting until the last moment because he wants to see keys.
By number 78 of the offense. Penalty 5 yards.
And not just the keys that he's going to see as a run defender. He wants to see the keys for everybody.
So how many times have you and I ever been in a meeting where we hear of a defensive tackle studying the game plans and understanding the secondary moves and linebackers?
Never.
Guy's special.
Yes, he is. He's 300 pounds. He doesn't look like he's any more than, say, 240. He's cut. They back up Texas Tech 5 yards. Nebraska may have jumped that time, and now Sheffield in trouble. Didn't throw it away and pays the price, taken down at the 28. Pierre Allen was chasing him from his defensive end spot.
Mike, Texas Tech is taught that if someone jumps on the defensive line, even before the snap count, to go ahead and snap the football, which is what Sean Burns did. But unfortunately for Tech that time, Nebraska was able to get back, and so it wasn't offside.
Which sure looked like Jared Crick, number 94, was at least in the neutral zone.
Now, that's a gamble, though, offensively, if you do that, because if you don't get them while they're offside, then you've blown your whole play.
That's right. And the quarterback and center better be on the same page. And Sheffield's going to have to use the timeout. Couldn't get his teammates in the right spot for the play he wanted.
You know, Nebraska's defense, this is a defense that's one of the best in the country. Mike, you mentioned earlier they give up 8 points a game scoring defense. That's number 2 only to Florida in America. So you're going to have some frustrating plays. And Texas Tech, I'm not sure if they're expecting to have that many frustrating plays today. They need to expect they're playing against somebody good and be prepared for them to have some success.
Absolutely. Well, Nebraska is a team that really is one play away from being undefeated. They faced number 13 Virginia Tech earlier in the season. Tyrod Taylor found Danny Cole for an 80-yard play. He was forced out at the 3-yard line, but Taylor paid it off with a pass into the end zone to Dyrell Roberts for an 11-yard score. Only 26 seconds left to go in that game. They outgained Virginia Virginia Tech. Most people who saw the game thought they should have won it, but that's the beauty of football. They didn't. Virginia Tech did. They move into the top 10. Nebraska falls. Into coverage, tipped and caught on the deflection. Lyle Leong made the grab for 34. Alfonso Dennard had a shot at it and didn't come up with it.
The beauty of this here is Lyle Leong is a 7'1" high jumper. He can go up and get the ball. He has a great job does a good job of getting his body around and prepared to take and receive the deflection.
Big play for Texas Tech. They've got it down at the Nebraska 38-yard line. Sheffield in the shotgun. We haven't seen Batch run the ball yet. They fake it to it this time. Sheffield under pressure, and it's the other tackle, Jared Crick, who benefits from the double teams on Sue, and he is a player in his own right.
And you know what, Jared Crick, they say, is just a notch below and beneath the talent of Mr. Sue. But the offensive linemen, they come off feeling like, hey, you got him. Miscommunication between the guard and the center, and they allow Crick to run free by himself.
Brandon Carter had him, let him go. There was nobody else there to pick him up. And he's their best offensive lineman. Sheffield again quickly out in the flat. That's going to be a very short gain to Tremaine Swindle. His 25th catch of the year. This is the kid that averages almost 20 yards a grab. And Eric Haig, the celebrated safety, made the tackle.
I thought one of the pluses for the Tech offense this year versus last year is that this year you don't really know who's going to catch the football. The quarterbacks at Tech this year are spreading the ball around, keeping all the receivers in the game, putting more pressure on the defense.
You pointed out in our meetings that they were right-handed all of last year. Third and long, pressure coming. And caught at the 18-yard line. Ruled inbounds on a perfect throw from Sheffield to Detron Lewis, the young man who's on the Bolitnikoff list. 23 yards. Haig was with him, but couldn't stop it.
And Mike, part of that right-handedness last year was to Michael Crabtree and to Detron Lewis. Lewis is one of the best receivers in the country who still hasn't gotten on track for this season because of all of the split personalities they have on this offense.
Spot the ball at the 23-yard line. Middle linebacker Will Compton moving the defensive lineman. Sheffield looks left. Chased and takes off. And ducks under pressure at the 16-yard line. Allen and Asante were right there.
Sticks, as they call him, Sheffield, he is a hot player right now, and 5 of 5, having his receiver step up, though, Mike, and made some catches for him. But getting down here in this red zone, this Nebraska defense has less field to cover. They're quick and they're aggressive, and they cover well when players come across the zone.
How about the numbers he put up in his first game? 490 yards, 7 touchdowns. I know systems produce big numbers, but that's ridiculous. Out in the flat, this is Batch inside the 10, wide open touchdown. He beat Compton to the corner, and there was nobody else there to stop him. What a start for Sheffield. 6 for 6, 93 yards. Batch gets his first receiving touchdown of the season.
This Tech offense just puts so much pressure on a defense to cover the entire field, and the receivers at Tech are taught to run to open space and to not stay covered up.
Matt Williams for the point after. And boy, did that silence the sellout crowd. Tremendous opening drive for Stephen Sheffield.
Well, and a tremendous opening drive for that Tech offensive line. Baron Batch can get you running or receiving, and it just shows you he's probably the number 5 receiver in that route right there.
Check check in with Heather Cox. Heather?
Well, guys, after the Houston loss for Texas Tech, Mike Leach made some changes in terms of how he was going to call out captains. Instead of having season-long captains, he decided to name them for each game. A huge clue about how much this team and coach respects Stephen Sheffield. He was named a captain for today's game. And you'll notice as he plays, a unique look. He's actually wearing 2 receiving gloves on his hands. He says he's done it forever, feels like he has a better grip on the ball. Certainly looks like a receiver and not a quarterback out there, guys.
Heather, he certainly had a grip on 2 3rd and longs, 3rd and 13 and 3rd and 17. Hit them both to keep that drive alive.
You know what, the receivers, Lyle Leong stepped up and helped him out a lot in that first 3rd and long. Taylor Potts. Now, Taylor Potts, after they played the University of Texas, Sheffield was on the sidelines. Potts went out on the field, and he outperformed Colt McCoy at Texas. And everybody in Lubbock and all the Red Raider Nation were like, hey, man, Taylor Potts is our guy. And he's had success. But then the concussion, it's a classic example. You're a sprained ankle away if you're a second-teamer from becoming the guy. And Sheffield stepped up when he was given the opportunity.
Dennard and Marlowe are deep. Short kick. Nice return across the 40 to the 43 by Dennard, the defensive back. Nebraska quarterback Zach Lee suffered for 3 quarters in a torrential rain against Missouri last week. Then he saved the game. 3 fourth-quarter touchdown passes just when you thought all was lost. You did that game. I haven't seen it rain any harder than that ever.
And you know what? Zach Lee saved that game, but he saved the season, too, for Nebraska.
Roy Hellu Jr. is the I-back, and he is hit for a short game. Let's check in with Wendy Nix in the studio. Wendy.
Mike, thank you. We take you out to the Cotton Bowl. About 3 minutes, 21 seconds remaining now in this game. Landry Jones in for the injured Sam Bradford. Tipped off by Earl Thomas. Texas leading by 3.
2nd down and long for Nebraska. This is a team that loves to run the football. Bo Pelini trying to get back to that Nebraska tradition. Quarterback keeper on the fake to Hellu, and Lee will pick up a couple.
And they've got to get Hellu going. I mean, this is a good football player this season. You see the touchdowns and the rushing. They've got to get him on track, as do their go-to guy on the outside. Niles Paul last week had a really big 4th quarter against Missouri. And then Mr. Sue, simply in our opinion, the best defensive player that we've seen so far in the country this year. And we're going to talk throughout the show. We have a nice X's and O piece here that Bo Pelini shared with us. We'll do a little video chalk talk with Coach in a little bit about Mr. Sue.
There is Paul, who caught 2 of the 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns a week ago against Missouri. Lee with time, then pressured, and he's sacked. Defensive pressure from Brandon Sharp, who gets his 5th sack of the season. Lee just couldn't find anybody, and Sharp kept working off the edge.
You know, one of the things that Texas Tech prides themselves in is playing relentless to the end of the ball. Defensive coordinator Ruffin McNeil demands it. Sharp is a senior, and he played well beyond that 3.0 second level they got to get rid of the football with.
Henry, both the punter and the place kicker, kicks it away to Zuzalik, who takes it on the run and is out of bounds around the 15-yard line. 42-yard kick and no return. Texas Tech with the ball and the early advantage at Nebraska.
First half. All right, that means they're doing a much better job of keeping this defense off balance here in the 2nd half.
Running the football enough, mixing up the play calling, allowed them to take control of the line of scrimmage back.
Let's send it to Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
All right, Brett, let's get a check of our AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. You think Pittsburgh's Deion Lewis is sore today? Carried the ball 31 times last night for 180 yards and a pair of touchdowns. And the Panthers win in Piscataway against Rutgers. Text VOTE to 345-345 from your mobile phone. You could win a trip to the national championship.
That's one of the best freshman running backs I've seen this year. And if you look down the road, Pittsburgh in the battle for a Big East title, and they've got a big home game coming up early November against Notre Dame. And so Deion Lewis, all eyes will start to be on him now.
Yeah, you're right about that. One thing about this game, 3rd and 5, Oklahoma. Remember we talked about how they had to use 2 timeouts when their offense had a little bit of confusion. Bob Stoops called both those timeouts from the sideline earlier in this second half. Now they're out of timeouts. And with it being 3rd and 5, if Texas picks up a first down, Oklahoma cannot stop the clock.
Colts going to keep it and run for the first down. Slides safely into the 48-yard line, and they'll move the chains. 2.5 minutes.
That's a design play and a good job of blocking up front. That time Charlie Tanner leads the way and picks up a block on Lewis. Design run all the way, and now Texas will take all the time that they need to chew up the remaining 2 minutes in this football game.
Mac Brown, they have won 3 of the last 4 games, and there's a telling stat right there, how many 3-point close games that Mac Brown has been involved in, and they've won 14 of their last 15, the Horns have. And now they keep the ball on the ground, start to work on that clock. There's a penalty flag thrown on that play.
On the offense, number 78, 10-yard penalty, first down.
I could argue all day with folks about how Bob Stoops has gone from being recognized as big game Bob to struggling mightily in BCS bowl games and against Texas. It's one thing to think about how they played against Florida in the national championship last year. It's one thing when you don't show up. It's another thing when you're battling like this with a great defense and an offense that's depleted through injuries, and you try to make a game of it.
I agree.
You know, this is not where, well, Bob Stoops didn't get his team ready to play. He can't coach in a big game. Kidding me?
Linebackers in this game, they're going to have to go to that dime package, where they have 6 defensive backs out there. They can't match up with all the offensive weapons Tech has.
Sheffield this time will start from just outside his 15-yard line. Batch gets his first carry and picks up 4 to the 20-yard line. Haig up from the secondary made the tackle. How good has Sheffield been? Well, his pass efficiency rating, which is very complicated in college, it seems to be even more complicated than the NFL, would be by far the best, most efficient quarterback in the country. 220.96. But obviously he has not played enough plays to qualify. Sue puts pressure on him, throws the ball out of bounds. I don't think he was out of the tackle box. He went back a long way, but you have to get outside of the perimeter.
Watch Mr. Sue. See him, watch him look at the push, the pressure. Keeps working and working, breaks up the pocket. Sheffield tries to get out of there. You must get rid of the football if you're playing against Mr. Sue and Nebraska's defensive line. They will be in the backfield, and they put a lot of pressure on the technique of offensive linemen.
They consult and throw the flag. Now, here's what would have been interesting. If he had gone back 3 more yards and thrown the ball away in the end zone, it would have been a safety.
Second down.
And Mr. Sue's going against Brandon Carter, an All-American at right guard. And you can just see the leverage that Sue plays with. Carter's no little human being over there, right?
No. Carter is 6'7", 334. He's actually bigger than Sue, but this guy is just strong as a bull.
There was a receiver in the area. There's no foul.
And now they're saying Detron Lewis was in the area as a receiver, so it is not intentional grounding.
Yeah, and be on the left side of your screen, see if we can find number 17, Lewis. He's around the football, coming back. That's a judgment call. And I say this all the time. It depends on who you're pulling for.
Now, how do you define area?
That was in the zip code.
It was in the same stadium? Pressure coming again. This time it was quick. Boy, those big red shirts led by Pierre Allen all over Sheffield that time. And that is the one thing that will shut down any offense. I don't care how good you are. You get that kind of penetration, it's going to hurt you. And Texas Tech has a lineman down, and it is Terry McDaniel, the starting left tackle.
I won't draw, but just look at the middle of the defensive line, how they're crossing up and moving around, and that's forcing that Tech offensive line to hand off that defender when he goes by them, right? Well, that's mighty hard to do when you're going against two really good defensive tackles. You better be excellent at your handing off of that defensive lineman. Right knee just buckled, went back on McDaniel. And Terry McDaniel just got his first start last week for Texas Tech. Chris Olsen was starting on the left side at left tackle, but they had moved Olsen back into left guard. So you'll now see, I'm sure, Olsen move back out to left tackle, keeping Lonnie Edwards at...
Another chapter in a fierce line. One of the best in all of college football. The Sooners lose their Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. The defensive players, especially at OU, they played their hearts out today. Colt McCoy was under the gun against that defense. There he is searching out Sam Bradford. They have become friends when they traveled on the circuit last December.
One a week.
Was hurt that
lost his punt return job temporarily. Is back for the kick of Ryan Ertzlaber. Short kick. Ball comes up. No fair catch. Trying to get to the outside. Cuts it back out of block. Couldn't stay in bounds. Went out at the 33-yard line. Got a couple of really nice blocks and an exciting 13-yard return after a kick of only 30. Eric Martin cleared the way for him as it looked like he was going to lose a couple of yards.
Now, the first thing you notice on this deal is there's no hang time. You have no coverage. And if you don't attack the receiving punt returner with authority, a guy like that's going to run right by you. Texas Tech worked hard during the offseason on special teams. They didn't expect to have something like that, nor want it early in the game.
Zach Lee and company take over in Nebraska, or in Texas Tech territory, excuse me. Lee sets and throws. Boy, it took a long time to get rid of that ball, and that's when the defensive backs start salivating. Jamar Wall was coming up with an eye on the ball. It got through somehow to Paul.
But a very productive play, 4 or 5 yards, although risky on the outside. I keep going back, and I'm waiting on number 10 to get developed going in this football game. Roy Helu. He's a good runner, one of the best in the Big 12. And you get him on track, and you got something for offense for the day.
He has 8 runs of 20 yards or more. Nobody in the country has more than Roy Helu. This one's batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it was Brandon Sharp, number 92, who got the hand up from his defensive end spot. He's made a couple of big plays early in this game. Zach Lee came out of San Francisco, did not have any Division I offers. He actually preferred baseball to football when he was growing up. Reportedly a terrific center fielder. Played junior college ball in San Francisco and has come to Nebraska and is now the starter. 3rd and 6 out of the shotgun. 4-man rush over the middle, and he's got a completion. Chris Brooks, only his 9th catch of the year, working the middle of that field, tackled by Cody Davis.
And you know what? Texas Tech's defense did not recognize coming across. Brooks is able to jump inside. No support from the guy in the linebacker level to pick him up. Zach Lee knew exactly the down and distance, where to go with the football, and a nice job by Brooks of getting there and giving him a target.
This is really receiver by committee. They have a whole lot of guys that play. No one has a lot of catches. And Helu trying to get outside, greeted by a whole phalanx of white jerseys on defense.
Mike, I love going around and seeing all the campuses and the stadiums, and when you look at this one here, it's simply one of the best,
isn't it,
atmospheres for college football. Fans fans, they understand the game. They're friendly. They're passionate.
And they're trying to get back to the past, too. With Tom Osborne coming back as the athletic director. They get Bo Pelini back. He's trying to revive all the traditions and what made Nebraska football special. That could be a loose ball. That looked like a lateral pass, and it's picked up by Texas Tech. Daniel Howard got a chance to go 80 yards for a touchdown. There is a flag down back at the 17-yard line. Was it a lateral pass or not? It looked like it was.
Absolutely. You got a great call on that, Mike. This is a lateral, depending on the flag.
And the Nebraska players stood there while the Texas Tech guys went after it.
Personal foul, tripping on the offense. Penalties refused. Touchdown.
It is a touchdown. The penalty against Nebraska, so it's refused.
Wow.
Now, obviously, they're going to take a look at this on instant replay, but we didn't hear a whistle. If you are joining us from the Texas-Oklahoma game, you have seen a terrific ball. Here is a review of a huge play. Craig, is this a lateral?
Absolutely, Mike. This ball is thrown behind. It's a lateral pass. The ball's on the ground. The receiver takes off and goes to the other direction. Daniel Howard, 53, picks it up. He goes the other way for Texas Tech. Nobody at Nebraska jumped up to go that direction. Now, there was a flag thrown on the play.
Was backward, an illegal recovery, touchdown.
And there was a flag against Nebraska, declined, touchdown. That, did you hear the crowd just deflated?
Oh. Niles Paul has got to be aware that this is a backward pass. It counts as a lateral. He drops the ball. It is a live ball. Daniel Howard does the smart thing, picks it up, and goes 82 yards. And it's like a tomb in here.
Wow, you know what? This Tech offense has came out in this football game and said, we're going to throw the ball and we're going to put pressure on you. We respect you, but we're not afraid of you. And that play right there. Now, Nebraska's used to playing from behind. They did it last week against Missouri. But a big play like that's tough to overcome.
Niles Paul drops the ball. Heads up play by Texas Tech. Daniel Howard, the biggest play of his life. 82 yards for the senior defensive end.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Nissan Maxima, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. AT&T, your world delivered. And Bud Light, with the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light. The difference is drinkability.
Well, they were very busy in the Nebraska locker room before the game, but they've been very busy on the field right now because Nebraska, if you just joined us, is down 14-0 against Texas Tech to start this game. It's what you might expect from Texas Tech. They march down the field throwing the ball, but then a huge defensive play.
Well, being at home now, Nebraska's not out of this football game. They've got a great defense that has the ability to turn the football over. But what you have seen here is this Tech offense not intimidated and matching the speed of Nebraska's really good defense.
Sir.
I mean, this is a defense that gives up 8 points a game, second in the country. So the challenge is now for Nebraska's defense to somehow come out and make a play. I'll say this. I stood on the sidelines at the Cotton Bowl last year and watched Ole Miss and Texas Tech. Tech jumped out 14-0 in that game, and then they fell apart. So sometimes when you jump out early, Mike, we've seen this before, you get a big lead, and all of a sudden it's the worst thing that could happen to you.
Right now, I don't think they're worried. I think they're really happy about having that big lead.
I'm trying to give you a little
I know.
reason for
I know,
optimism.
you're working hard. Deep kickoff, and Nebraska will have to start from its 20.
Stephen Sheffield started out, and he took his football team down the field. Baron Batch with a touchdown reception out of the backfield. And we just showed you the lateral fumble. And the senior, being smart, Daniel Howard, picking that ball up, taking it to the house, 14-0 Red Raiders.
I don't know that I have ever heard 82,000 people this quiet.
Not with what they were expecting from this team. You showed the highlight earlier. Virginia Tech beat Nebraska, but Nebraska's one play away from being a top 5 football team and undefeated.
Hello. On the fake, Zachley keeps it, gets out to the 27. Let's go to our Times Square studio in New York. Here's Matt Weiner.
Hey, Mike, let's get a Taco Bell update from Pasadena, California. Cows played themselves out of the top 25, but they got off to a good start today against the Bruins. Kevin Riley to Marvin Jones, who gets behind the defense. UCLA has just cut that 14-0 lead in half with a touchdown. It's 14-7.
Nebraska trying to get something going on offense. 2nd and 3. Roy Hello Jr. First down. Trying to get the crowd back in it as he gets out to the 36-yard line before Brock Bird makes the tackle.
But I like that now. You know, I'm a big believer in this guy who leads the Big 12 in rushing. He's an excellent runner, and you take the pressure off your quarterback, Zach Lee. Don't make Zach Lee try to come back and hit the home run ball. It becomes a disaster if you do that.
Zach Lee's only thrown for less than 1,100 yards coming into this game. So it is not a big play pass offense, although he did have those big plays at the end of the Missouri game. A.J. Jones, as they have been looking all week for a backup running back, Rex Burkhead, a talented freshman, has a foot injury, and they have looked at 4 or 5 guys to be the number 2 running back, or I-back as they call them.
And you know what, Mike, that's a big loss for Nebraska. That true freshman Rex Burkhead, he was a big play explosive guy, particularly on third down passing situations.
Lee, little shuttle pass to Jones, and he is buried as he takes one step. Ray John Henley crushed him. He'll gain a couple.
Come on now, Zach Lee's got to execute this game plan. The quarterback must attack the in-man line of scrimmage. He didn't attack down there. Ray John Henley was allowed to come back in on the ball carrier. You must attack and get him out of the play and then pitch the ball underneath.
Yeah, you've got to make him make the wrong decision, and he just let him drill the running back that time. Now it's 3rd and long. Texas Tech shows blitz. They come with only 4. Lee running away from pressure, had a man open, didn't see him, and throws incomplete. Intended for Holt, but he was very well covered at the sideline, and Nebraska will have to kick it away again.
Very frustrating start for Nebraska's offense. Now, I sat and watched them last Thursday in a rainstorm, and that was a good excuse, Mike. One of the things I was looking for in this game was, would they have hurt themselves by having a poor week last week in the rain with their timing? Pretty sloppy start on a dry surface.
Henry to kick to Zuzalik, who waits inside his 20. Short kick. And Henry can't get there, but it takes a good bounce for Texas Tech up to the 31. And the punt is 31 yards. Mr. Sue, is he a Heisman candidate? Is he the best defensive tackle in the country? 14-0 here at Nebraska. Yesterday, head coach Bo Pelini talked X's and O's with us about his dominant defensive tackle with Craig.
All right, Bill, you got a great player in Mr. Sue here. Tell us what he's doing on this particular play.
Yeah, you know, he's they're turning to him. They have a double team going on him, and he's attacking the inside part of the double team, and then he just beats the inside part. He uses his athleticism and his relentless effort and makes a play, causes fumble, gets the football back for us.
He's contagious, isn't he?
He is a great player.
He leads his team in tackles, broken up passes, sacks, tackles for loss and has an interception. That gives him 4 for his career. And in this system, he's not a guy who is allowed to chase the ball. He tries to take on 2 linemen every time. Quick pass for 3 or 4, and Texas Tech continues to be very efficient. That one to Detroit Lewis.
You'll see the 2 blockers on Mr. Sue, and that's just allowing somebody else a chance to make a play on that defense. He's an unselfish player, but he will get after you. You've got to get rid of the football. He does not quit. He goes all the way beyond the limit of time.
Little swing pass this time to Harrison Jeffers. And Jeffers very close to a first down. DeJohn Gomes made the stop.
You know, Mike, you and I compared him to Reggie White, a great player in the NFL. Same kind of body size, great character, charisma, humble,
strength. 3rd and a yard, not necessarily a running down for Texas Tech. They throw in any situation. Sheffield bobbles the snap. Trying to run away from pressure, nowhere to go, and Mr. Sue all over him. All that guy needs is an opportunity to bury somebody.
He just has that sense about him. You got a good down and distance for Texas Tech, and they botched the snap. 93 will not give up on the play. He knows the proper angles to take to get to the football. Most defenders end up running right by the quarterback, not Mr. Sue.
It looked like Sheffield was already looking downfield for what he was trying to do before that ball got to him. It wasn't that bad a snap. Erxleben to punt to Niles Paul. So a break for Nebraska as Texas Tech misfires on the 3rd and 1. Fair catch made for just outside the 40. Only 29 yards on the punt. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, we can all see why Sue is certainly starting to get some attention. On Tuesday, he did interviews with ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and the Wall Street Journal, to which he said, I didn't even know they had a sports page. But he's not letting it all go to his head. Lineman Jared Crick said he's been getting attention for a long time. He's the most humble guy on the team. Part of the reason might be his mom, Bernadette, who Sue says keeps him humble with her critiques. In fact, I talked to her before the game, and she said she wasn't overly impressed with his game against Missouri. Sue told us she didn't outright say it, but I know she wanted to say, you could have done better. Think she might be impressed tonight, guys?
I think she will, Heather, and I think that young man is going to need a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, because our Todd McShay projects him to be the 4th overall draft choice in the NFL draft. So he's going to have some money to play somewhere.
You know, the thing that I like about Sue is he's just a humble guy. I appreciate his attitude.
I do too. He is a terrific young man. We wish him all the best. Got a timeout here. 14-0. Texas Tech surprising Nebraska. If you are joining us late, surprise, surprise. 14-0 Texas Tech over number 15 Nebraska. Even though Nebraska may have the psychological edge starting this game.
Well, they had the edge. I thought last night Bo Pelini giving the black shirts back to the Nebraska defense, said they had earned it, was going to give them a big boost. If Nebraska's going to get back in this game, the offense has got to stop hurting them and allow Mr. Sue and company with the black shirts to do something about it.
Texas Tech gave him a black eye on the first drive as they took the ball and just shoved it down their throat the length of the field to score. And now Zach Lee goes back to work. Under pressure again, and down he goes. The pressure comes from Ray John Henley. Boy, and Texas Tech is showing you some tough work on defense.
And Ray John Henley has just got too much speed for Nebraska's offensive line. They can't get out and move. DJ Jones, 73, can't do anything about it. But then again, Zach Lee's got to step up into that pocket and get rid of the football. I don't know that Lee's really seeing the secondary right now. He's not seeing down the field.
He's seeing the turf out of his ear hole right now. Been under tremendous pressure. Steps up this time, can't find anybody. Well, that was very close to grabbing him by the helmet or the face mask, but no flag, and Brandon Sharp gets a sack. So they have just terrorized Zach Lee from the outside.
Well, let's see if Zach Lee has anything to look and find downfield. You know, that's only a 4-man rush, a lot of pressure coming there with just 4 rushers. But the receivers, there's nothing really in the vision, the sideline for Zach Lee to throw the ball down the field to.
Henry to kick it away to Zuzalik. Very short kick, end over end and out of bounds. Not a good kick at all for Henry, who may be the best place kicker in the entire country. 27 yards on the kick. Up next, Buffalo Wild Wings presents the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. Deion Sanders, Charles Woodson, and Roy Williams. Which great DB is highlighted in the play?
Buffalo Wild Wings presents the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. 20. Trailing late in the game, Texas quarterback Chris Sims was trying to rally a long touchdown drive, but Oklahoma's Roy Williams had other ideas.
There's the blitz. Touchdown, Lehman. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Williams got him on the blitz.
Follow the top 30 countdown all season long. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings.
That was play number 20. You can see play number 19 revealed tonight in our primetime college football games on ESPN and ESPN2. Stephen Sheffield, the junior from Pflugerville, Texas, running the Red Raider offense. And he gives to Baron Batch, who didn't have a chance, drilled in his tracks by Philip Dillard, number 52, the weak side linebacker.
That is how you fill the lane. I'm telling you, did he come down the hill and hit him in the mouth?
And that's how you earn your black shirt, isn't it?
I hated defensive guys like that.
You ran over your share. 2nd and 11. Nebraska's defense, I think, challenged on the sideline after that opening drive for a touchdown. Sheffield in trouble, somehow gets away. 40. Didn't slide, went down maybe a yard shy of the first down, covered by Ndamukong Suh, who was chasing him from behind.
You know what? Number 93, Mr. Suh, is unbelievable. He's in the middle. He'll lose him out of the frame just for a second, but he doesn't stop. 305 pounds down the field. Wow. Great effort.
3rd and a yard. Batch is the running back. Where they crowd the middle of that offense, and Sheffield goes off tackle, and he didn't get there. His helmet got to the 45, but the ball never did. Boy, Suh and Crick were right over center. He could not go up the middle. Made a great decision, but Nebraska covered up beautifully.
I followed Texas Tech football a long time, and every time they go under center with a quarterback and they try to sneak with it, it does not work. Now, Tech tried to put Jeffers in motion to try to distract that Nebraska defense, but they stoned them up front.
They have gone for it on 4th down 12 times this year, and they've made 8. Is Mike Leach actually going to do it? Yes, he is. But there may have been a timeout before the snap, and it looks like Nebraska was the team that stopped the clock. Well, what a gamble this was going to be by Mike Leach. You've got the advantage. You're up 14-0. To me, you are really rolling the dice to make this kind of risky play.
Mike, why would Mike Leach give Nebraska a chance to get back in the game? You got a great point there. That's not a good decision.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the all-new 2010 SRX, the Cadillac of crossovers. Aflac, we've got you under our way. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
The history of those black shirts dates back to 1964. Coach Bob Devaney. It's when they stopped playing two ways and they needed different color shirts in practice. The reason it was black, they got a great deal in a sporting goods store. They got cheap jerseys. That's how traditions start. They show they're going for it again, and they are going to try to go for it, and they're going to make it. It's the end around to Harrison Jeffers. Boy, he's got the guts of a riverboat gambler, doesn't Mike Leach?
Well, even though you make it, I can tell you right now, I would not want Mike Leach managing my IRA. I'm telling you, this just, there's no, the risk is greater than the reward here. And you got to know, you've got a good football team on the field today, and there's no reason to risk getting Nebraska the ball back in their own territory.
Hey, my IRA's so small he can do anything he wants with it. In fact, he can have it. Sheffield in trouble, got away. And throws in nearly a one-handed catch by Detron Lewis. Larry Asante on the coverage. Somehow Sheffield got away from pressure that time.
And you know what? And eventually, Sheffield's going to figure out that if you don't get rid of the ball on time, number 93 is going to find you. And this defense, boy, they are strong. Jared Crick is outstanding. What a great player he is.
I like the fact that after he missed the tackle, he got right back up and went after him again. No quit. I like both of those guys. Batch on the delay. Flag is down. And so is Batch at the 28. Matt O'Hanlon, the defensive safety, came up to make the tackle. And Crick looked like he was offside. And they're talking to Texas Tech.
Offside, number 94 of the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty and replay second down.
It was Crick, and let's check in with Heather.
Mike, the Texas Tech coaches were so optimistic this week because the O-line was finally starting to solidify. While 3 O-line injuries in one series devastated any continuity they established. First, it was left guard Lonnie Edwards with an ankle. He has returned. Then center Sean Burns limped off the field. They tested his strength and gave him his helmet back. The biggest guy is Terry McDaniel, who's still in the locker room.
Thank you, Heather. The underneath catch made by Leong, which makes the decision to go on 4th and 1 even more strange if you've got a banged up offensive line.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say this, Mike Leach said coming into this season compared to last year, he had 9 different opportunities of lineman options that he could go to compared to 7 the last season. So he had more players, and Olsen has started, and Chris Olsen is a good football player.
Sheffield out in the flat to Lewis, and he'll pick up about 3 yards to the 20.
And this really puts a lot of pressure on Carl Pelini, the defensive coordinator, for him to figure out what he's got to do. And ordinarily, he probably wouldn't gamble as much defensively, but being down 14-0 against a team that scores a lot of points, you got to kind of maybe think about rolling the dice somewhat, see if you can't pressure Sheffield into a mistake.
Texas Tech averages over 43 points a game, number 2 in the country. The Nebraska defense, number 2 in the country in scoring defense, only 8 points a game. Out in the flat again, Harrison Jeffers. This time he'll be trapped behind the line of scrimmage. Alfonso Dennard came up from the corner to make the tackle. That's D-E-N-N-A-R-D, but they pronounce it Dennard.
I always pronounce whatever you say.
That's why you say Mr. Sue.
Absolutely. You got rid of the first part of it, the Endemicon Sue. So I just go with the easy stuff.
Sheffield 3rd and long. Nice throw on the out. Beautiful throw to Jacoby Franks. But there is a flag down. Preliminary signal is a hold against Texas Tech.
Personal
and now
foul,
they're pointing at Nebraska.
Number 94 of the defense. a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, what a throw by Sheffield.
Well, I've watched Sheffield for 3 years and practice at Texas Tech, and this guy is not afraid to throw the football. That's a long, hard throw, and it has to be thrown with time and on a rope. Boy, what a... And Jared Crick now, conversely, 94, he's got to settle his throttle down a little bit over there, doesn't he?
And it's a face mask on Crick. Declined. Prince Amakamara, the defensive back, thought he was going to be able to get a hand on it, but Sheffield somehow fitted it in there. The running back is Batch on 1st and goal. And the crowd here now pleading for this Nebraska defense to step up. They'll blow this one dead.
Timeout. Nebraska. Second timeout of the half.
The crowd here at Sold Out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln is stunned. Nebraska down by 14. Texas Tech driving again. ESPN has an SEC battle for you tonight. South Carolina hoping to play the spoiler against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Number 22 South Carolina, number 2 Alabama. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. Nebraska had to use a defensive timeout. They had the wrong personnel on 1st and goal as Texas Tech came out and still showed spread from the 3. Batch got to the 2 and then turned back. This is not the strength of Texas Tech running the ball. At some point, you've got to be able to do it, though.
Absolutely. You know, and last year I thought when they really jumped up on the national radar, it was because of the balance they had. They beat Texas last year because they could run the football.
11th play of the drive. Sheffield in his 2nd career start. Throws for the back corner of the end zone. This is going to be interference against Amukamara. Had his back turned to the play and just grabbed the receiver right in front of the official.
Pass interference by number 21 of the defense. By rule, the ball is placed at the 2-yard line.
Crowd doesn't like it, but Amukamara didn't even argue.
Yeah, you know what? This is a nice job. And Detron Lewis, 17, is an excellent route runner. Amukamara tries to recover to get back, loses his feet, and has to. If he doesn't push, if there's not interference there, that's a touchdown.
And a lot of defensive coaches will tell you, I'd rather you commit interference and not give up the score. But it's a fresh set of downs now from the 1. And Sheffield will go under center with Batch as the running back. And Batch with the carry. Sue got him around the waist. No signal yet. And they mark him down just short. Again, I don't understand. The umpire is standing right on top of the play, and they're waiting for the line guys to come in from the side.
Absolutely. He's in the fist fight. He's right there with them.
Yeah.
You know, get in there. Now, this is where, now, if I were Texas Tech, I'd have gone right back to the line of scrimmage. You're that close. Get right up on the football. You like to sneak. He's proven that. Jump up there and see if you can't push one across.
They've got both tackles, Sue and Crick, lined up on either shoulder of the center. Sheffield, flag is down. Sheffield's in the end zone, but they've stopped the play.
Timeout. Texas Tech, 2nd of the half.
Mike, is that one of those where you could say, hey, I was kidding?
Timeout.
Yes. They called timeout just before the snap. Sheffield gets the score, and the play doesn't count. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary while we have this timeout.
I thought it was really important early on for the receivers to help out Sheffield with some nice catches on 3rd down, allowing that touchdown pass to Baron Batch. This was the lateral picked up by the senior Daniel Howard that went the other way to make it 14-0. And that put a lot of pressure on Sue and that defense to come out and to keep their team in the game. They have really, at Nebraska, put pressure on Mr. Sue and company to keep them in the game.
This is not a high-powered offense, to reemphasize your point. If you get down 21-0 against Texas Tech, you have to assume they're going to score a couple of more points before it's over. And so how's Nebraska come back?
Defense has to make a play to match Texas Tech's defense. Somewhere they've got to come up with a play to rejuvenate and put life into Zach Lee and company.
It will be 2nd and goal when we resume. They originally started 1st and goal from the 3, then the interference call in the end zone gave them 1st and goal at the 1. Again, they crowd that center. Sheffield with a keeper. Trying with a second effort, touchdown. The junior from Pflugerville, Texas, with his first rushing touchdown.
Yeah, that offensive line up front, Chris Olsen, 70, Justin McKee, and these guys really pushing. And when you don't have but a foot to go, maybe the quarterback sneak is the thing to do.
12 plays, 65 yards, and this quick strike offense took 6 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, and Nebraska had to use 2 defensive timeouts on that drive, and they still didn't stop. The crowd further stunned in the second quarter. 21-0 Texas Tech. Johnson now has the lead in the chase, but former champs Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart right behind him. It's the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the NASCAR Banking 500 at Lowe's Motor Speedway tonight, 7 Eastern on ABC. And there are your leaders halfway through the chase. Nebraska defense has just been stunned here today by Texas Tech.
Well, they've been stunned the last 3 times they've played Tech. Tech's won 3 in a row against Nebraska, averaging 47 points a game.
Of course, that offense has stunned a lot of people, hasn't it?
Yep.
Well, Nebraska would really love to do something to get the crowd back in it. Dennard and Marlowe are deep. Donnie Corona with 8 touchbacks coming into this game. Gets this one down to the 6. Marlowe swallowed up as he reached the 22-yard line. Check in with Matt Weiner. Matt.
All right, Mike, let's get a Verizon Wireless update on #1 Florida's very shaky start against Arkansas. This is Tim Tebow and Brandon James just can't get it together. Moments ago, the Gators fumbled inside the Arkansas 10 again. It remains 7-0 there. USC now leading at Notre Dame. It's 10-7 early in the second quarter.
Never take anything for granted. Nothing. This one is a pretty good indication. 21-0. Roy Hellu Jr. fighting his way for about 8 yards.
You say never take anything for granted. I mean, this Nebraska team really 1 play away from being undefeated and in the top 5. Florida, not surprised, Mike, are you, that they're struggling with Arkansas? They had the big emotional game at LSU last week. They're not the same team. Bo Pelini was telling us yesterday, if they don't open it up at Florida, for sure Alabama will beat them.
Yep.
And somebody else.
I thought the Alabama defense, especially the way they have played traditionally, would do a great job against them. Brandon Sharp, speaking of great jobs, has been all over Zach Lee today. He has 2 sacks, and that time nearly got his 3rd.
I'll tell you who's all over him right now.
And now an intentional grounding call comes at the end of this. Not too sure about this. It looked like Zach Lee, wherever he was going with the ball, couldn't get it out of his hand very well because he was in the process of being creamed.
Well, did the ball get back to the line of scrimmage? So the ball probably did not make it back to the it's at the 30. The ball didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage. But I tell you who's all over right now, Zach Lee, is that Ruffin McNeil defense. Bo Pelini's coached a lot of good ball clubs. Ruffin McNeil is smart. His players are smart. And they own right now the heads of Nebraska's offense.
And because of the penalty with intentional grounding, Brandon Sharp credited with his 3rd sack of the game, and he now has 7 for the season. He and Daniel Howard, those bookend defensive ends, put an awful lot of pressure on quarterbacks.
You hear Nebraska's fans starting to boo. These are as smart a fans as there are in college football. Listen to this call.
There was a malfunction in the paging system.
Malfunction also in the game plan of Nebraska. But when you look at and you hear these Nebraska fans, they understand football. And they've now seen Missouri, with the excuse of the rain, now follow up with the game here on a dry surface and not playing well against Texas Tech offensively.
Pressure again. Lee with a screen. Roy Hello Jr. sidesteps a couple of tackles, and he's off to the races. This kid can run. He's a lot faster than he appears and gets it out to the 48. That's a nice call against defensive pressure, and they really needed it.
Absolutely. You know what? The best player on your offense has to touch the football. And in my opinion, it's Roy Hello Jr.,
yes.
number 10. It's not Zach Lee. It's nobody else. You get the ball to your best player, put it in his hands, let him go.
And he's going to have to touch it a lot to get him back in this game. Here he goes again. Picking his way through tacklers, has another 1st down at the Texas Tech 42.
And the Big Red Nation clapping in the stands. You know, they get it. They go from boo to there you go. Let's get it in. Let's go. If you were to open up applications for offensive coordinators in the stands, you probably have some pretty qualified folks step up.
Yeah, you got 81,000 people without contracts who want the job. And now Texas Tech will use a timeout defensively. It's 21-0. Texas Tech at Nebraska will be back in 30 seconds. The entire world blacked out. Everyone saw a vision of the future. Now the race is on to discover why. The most talked about new drama of the season, ABC's Flash Forward, all new Thursday at 8/7 Central. Roy Hello Jr. again. Don't tell me what happened last week, because I've still got it on TiVo. I have not seen last week's episode. I want to see it a couple of times, just to catch up.
I'm an honest guy. I'm killing you, but you don't have to worry about me letting you in, because I have not watched it.
Oh, you got to see it. You really do. You need to find somebody who's got it on disc or tape or something, or go over to their house if they got it on TiVo to watch it. So you're going to love it.
So you're giving me permission not to study both games I do each week and just take a week day off?
Yes, you got my permission.
And watch. Okay,
Put your career in my hands.
Thank you.
Steady dose of Hello. And he reaches the Texas Tech 36. Colby Whitlock, the nose tackle, makes the stop.
And that's okay, Mike. Be methodical. It's okay. Be patient here. It's 4-down territory. In your mind, you're going for it here on 4th down, so just keep working it. That quarterback zone read is really going to put pressure on Tech's defense, slow them down a little bit, because they're pinning their ears back right now, getting up the field.
Yeah, you just want something that works right now. They need to reach the 32 for a 1st down. Lee with good protection. And throws out in the flat, complete to Brooks. And Chris Brooks has a 1st down just inside the 10. A gain of 26.
This is a couple of times now that Brooks has stepped up and made a play for his offense. Zach Lee didn't scramble, did not panic. Found the window of opportunity in that passing lane up in front of him. Made a nice throw down the field.
Boy, it makes you nervous when a quarterback holds the ball that long, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially when he's been getting hit in the mustache all day.
Exactly. 1st and goal at the 10. Hello. Cuts it back, got maybe a yard, and that's it. Daniel Howard covered him up.
Well, last week, Hello Jr., he banged his shoulder up a little bit at the end of the Missouri game, so I was kind of watching for him to come in to see if he'd be favoring it, babying it a little bit, but so far in this game, he's run pretty hard with it.
He really looked hurt at the end of that game. 4 wide receivers. Guy that's been hot, Brooks, is in the slot top of the left of your screen. Lee with a keeper inside the 5 to the 3. Zach Lee at 6'2", 215.
You know, I talked about that discipline Tech's defense is going to have. You're going to see this collapse, and that's opening up the quarterback to keep the football. Nobody stayed home. So as soon as Ray John Henley, 91, fell inside, I gave the quarterback Lee the read to keep the football and run it.
Play 10 of this drive. And 3rd and goal for Big Red. It's going to be 4th and goal now. If that was a read, it wasn't a very good one by Zach Lee.
At this point here, you know, points are important. You got to get the goose egg off the scoreboard. You know, I know that you have not been in the game necessarily offensively, but I'd sure like to get 21-3 at least. I would not want to come away with nothing here.
Of course, I'm worried that Texas Tech, with that offense, they're going to score some more points. I don't know how much good 3 is going to do you. I understand your point.
Yeah. And Bo's going to call timeout here, and he's going to talk about it and think about it. No question what Mike Leach would do, is there?
No, not none whatsoever. And he'd probably make it work, too. 4th and goal outside the 3. What will Nebraska do? We'll find out when we come back. Welcome back. Hardly seemed like we left.
Now, I could build a case as to why you'd go for it or not and kick and get points. Bo Pelini has a feel for his football team. And when he looks players in the eyes on that sidelines, he knows they're either in the tank and he's lost them for the day, and therefore he'd need to pick them up. He'd have to go ahead and roll the dice a little bit here.
Instead, they'll go for what with this young man qualifies as sure a thing as you're going to get. Alex Henry, a brilliant field goal artist who leads the country in kicking percentage, almost 90% for his career. He has been an exceptional place kicker, and he gets Nebraska on the board finally with 1:47 to go first half. All right, put your trivia hat on. Nebraska's Mike Rozier won the Heisman Trophy in 1983. This is a tough question. Which team did he start his professional career with?
Boy, he was a player. Mike Rozier, Irving Fryer. Those were some Nebraska. That was back when the black shirts were doing their thing, and the offense was too.
Now, you probably know the answer to this, having played then.
I was in that fraternity.
Yes.
Giving out a little hint there.
You were not on that team, though.
No.
I bet no more than 10% of the people who are guessing are going to get this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
After the kick, you'll get the answer. Now, you got to be honest.
Now, this first half has been a real shocker for Nebraska and Bo Pelini. They had a lot of confidence coming in here. That fourth quarter win, come from behind win at Missouri last week, I felt like they really had maybe found something offensively.
I did too.
You know, and you know, we study and we're prepared for games. We didn't expect 21-3 at half by either team.
It was a very impressive win last week in the rain at Missouri. It was the kind of game they would look back on at the end of the season if they have a successful year, and it looks like they will. But that was the turning point. That's the one that got us over the hump. But today could run it. And that's what coaches will always say. Last week is last week. Zuzalik, a yard deep in the end zone. Found a seam, just tripped up as he came across the 15, stopped at the 19-yard line. All right, time for our answer on the Aflac trivia question. Mike Rozier, the Heisman Trophy winner in '83. Where did he start his professional career? The answer, the Pittsburgh Maulers of the USFL. He played with them in '84.
And I was with the Washington Federals, 1983. Never played against Mike, though, in Pittsburgh.
I didn't even remember that there was a Pittsburgh Maulers.
No doubt. And we may have played them, and I forgot we played them.
I don't think the city of Pittsburgh remembers the Maulers. Little shovel pass. Batch. Neither team with a timeout, and Batch is brought down.
That's not a give-up play for Mike Leach. With time on the clock, Mike Leach, he's thinking score.
Clock running, 1:19 and counting. Using a lot of time here. Sheffield with that out, has it to midfield and more. Detron Lewis down the sideline. Got to the 15-yard line. Are you kidding me? 58 yards. What a killer that was.
You can't allow their best receiver at Texas Tech to get one-on-one on the outside like this. Just by himself sitting there. That's called prevent, and you prevent yourself from making a play defensively. You better be closer to a receiver like that than the distance they gave him.
That was another nice throw by Sheffield, because he had to get that ball out there. Kind of heartbreaking play they had against Virginia Tech that cost them a ball game. Sheffield again taking a lot of time with good protection, throws underneath and incomplete this time to Lewis. And there is a flag down at the 5-yard line in the Nebraska secondary with 29 seconds to go in the half.
Pass interference by number 17 of the offense.
This is offensive.
And replay first down.
Talk about a nice break here for Nebraska. Lewis trying coming across, just pushing, but Texas Tech their kicker does not have a big leg. You know, from 40 in, he's okay, but top of your screen coming across the middle. Yeah, that's an intended little pick. Yeah, trying to scrape, but
Philip Dillard just got walled off. First down and a mile now from the 29. Four-man rush. Sue in his face. The pass. That one skipped in the end zone. Incomplete. Very close to Jacoby Franks getting the catch, but there is going to be a roughing the passer call.
It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
And that looked like it was on Sue. Called for hitting Sheffield in the head.
Now, Mr. Sue 93, you know, he's an aggressive player. Yeah, the hand just went right to, and that's one of those when yes, he hit him in the head. It's a penalty, but Sue just misfired with his hand.
Boy, in exchange of penalties, now the ball is moved back to the 15-yard line. 22 seconds to go. Remember, Texas Tech does not have a timeout,
but it gives them the ability now with a first down to ground it and spike it, to clock it if they need to after the snap.
And they're within field goal range if they need to go that direction. Sheffield chased by Sue, throws to the goal line, dropped. Baron Batch had a sure touchdown and dropped it. What a throw by Sheffield.
Yeah, and Baron Batch is a sure-handed receiver for a running back, and they work on it at practice all the time. But that just shows you the presence and the mindset of Sheffield, knowing where his receiver is one-on-one up the field.
Receivers sometimes like to jump when they don't have to. I don't know what it is, but there's a tendency to do it that may have cost them. 14 seconds to go. Nebraska blitz. Sheffield for the end zone, jump ball and incomplete. That was intended for Leon, and he went up with Alfonso Dennard. It's incomplete.
And you know what? Mr. Sue steps up time and time again to help his teammates out in the secondary, not allow the rhythm throw by Sheffield.
Now on third down, you basically have to go for the field goal because there's only 8 seconds left. You can't complete it short of the end zone. You'd have no time.
Yeah, and this 3 obviously negates the 3 Nebraska just was able to accomplish on their previous drive.
Matt Williams, who is 3 out of 4 this year from 32 yards. Boy, in Texas Tech, what a first half for them. 24-3. They have stunned 15th ranked Nebraska in this sellout crowd of 82,000.
You know, watching Texas Tech football over the years, I knew coming into this season they would be a better football team than they were last year. They knew they'd be a better team. But most folks wrote them off because Graham Harrell was gone, Michael Crabtree was gone.
Why wouldn't you?
Lost a couple of good defensive players. But as a team, they're far better than they were last year when they won 11 games. And when I say team, I mean here, you got an offense and defense that now play together. You and I were talking to Ruffin McNeil, the D coordinator, about this, and he said, yeah, you're right. We do play together. They understand the game better. And the chemistry at Texas Tech is really strong.
And yet they've lost 2 games coming into this one.
And they lost to Texas in Austin early on.
No shame there.
No shame. And a punt return was the difference by Jordan Shipley for a touchdown. That was the difference in that game.
And they lost to a really good Houston team, a team that can light up the scoreboard like they can.
Yeah, and who at the time was in the top 20.
That's right.
And Houston lost the next week to UTEP, or Houston would be 10, 11, 12 in the country.
And that had to be a little bit of a hangover after the celebration from that one.
Yes.
Well, 3 seconds to go. If you're Nebraska, you just want to get off the field, get in the locker room, and try to regroup somehow. And they're going to go with a short pooch kickoff. And that runs out the clock. Tyler Legate made the tackle on special teams. It's going to be a happy locker room for Texas Tech. Not so much for Nebraska, will it, Heather?
Coach, last week you had 27 unanswered points in the second half. You called that a comeback, a huge win for you guys. How can you draw on that experience this week?
Well, I mean, the first half, you talk about a comedy of errors. That's what we did. And we gave them too many things. And we got to pick it up and play our football in the second half to give ourselves an opportunity.
Coach, last night you handed out 13 black shirts for the first time all season. How will you challenge that group to do a better job against Texas Tech's offense?
Make plays.
Coach, thank you.
And he'll be talking to his team, just trying to regroup for the second half. At the half, our score, Texas Tech 24. Nebraska greeted by a chorus of boos, 3. Now let's head to the studio. For all the Nebraska fans who are watching this game at home, they are stomping around at halftime going, what happened to Big Red in the first half? It's 24-3. They have been beaten in virtually every aspect you can think of.
You know, sitting up here scratching my head trying to figure out what to say coming out the second half. If you're Nebraska, you get rid of whatever the game plan was, right? 103 yards of offense in the first half. Texas Tech's dominating you. You have to go out now and have a sense of urgency from the very first kick. And that means scrapping the old plan offensively, throw the football. I think Zach Lee has to have the pressure put on him in this offense. They have to get the ball down the field and throw it. They cannot be methodical because Texas Tech is going to score a lot of points.
That's for sure. Let's go to your city inside view. What do you have there?
Well, I had to go really deep inside to figure this one out, but it's the Tech defense. We're always talking about the Tech offense. I thought today Ruffin McNeil's defense really separated themselves from previous games. From the outside, Rajon Henley and Brandon Sharp were excellent. Coverage in the secondary, which means they knew what was going on. Nowhere for Zach Lee to throw the football. So it's really a defense that has dominated Nebraska's offense, not just Tech's offense, but Nebraska's defense has been out there trying to figure out how to slow down the Red Raiders.
Brandon Sharp has done a great job from his defensive end spot, and Ruffin McNeil has really dialed up the right calls defensively for Texas Tech. They have had constant pressure on Zach Lee. Dennard and Marlowe are deep to receive. Nebraska gets the ball first. Marlowe runs up. Cut down near the 35-yard line by Taylor Charbonnet. Let's take a look at our Pac Life game summary.
And you know what? I just told you about the offense. When you look at the 103, that's why we focused on the Tech defense just a moment ago, to show you how well they've done in this football game. Time of possession has snuck back up to being close to even. But Zach Lee in this Nebraska offense, you got to throw the ball, and you got to have a sense of urgency coming out right now.
And they are playing against a vulnerable defense, at least statistically. They're only 55th in the country, giving up almost 350 yards a game and more than 21 points a game. But not today.
Yeah, nothing vulnerable about that stat right there. That's a chart that tells you all you need to know about this game. That's why on first down, when you come out and you run the football and 4 guys tackle the ball carrier, again, that's not working.
Not a lot of diversity in the offensive calls right now, are there?
But, you know, then you look out there and who's going to make a play? Wide receiver Niles Paul, 24. He's down here to the left. That's the guy that has to step up and be the go-to guy.
He had the big catches a week ago. Instead, they go to Mike McNeil, the tight end, who has caught more balls than any tight end in a single season in the history of this program, and is 7th all-time among tight ends in Nebraska. That was his first catch today.
Yeah, he had 32 catches last year, as you allude to, and he had a big touchdown reception last week against Missouri. They got to get McNeil, the tight end, and Paul, the receiver, involved in this offense.
And you get the feeling they are going to have to score virtually every possession that they have the ball in this game in the second half. Be a short game. Let's check in with Heather Cox. Heather.
Well, Mike, I was able to catch up with Texas Tech coach Mike Leach, who was very happy with the team's ability to look one play to the next and not look ahead. He said, I liked our tempo. I like our energy. In terms of the second half, his goal is to really win the battle of ball control, keep the ball away from Nebraska. That was a huge discrepancy in last year's game. Nebraska had the ball for 40 minutes, Tech at just 19. This week, they put in a lot of defensive changes to make sure that doesn't happen today, guys.
And Heather, they've won 3 in a row against Big Red, and a win here would get them to 2-1 in the Big 12 and keep them in that season-long race.
I know one of the things that Heather, following up on Mike Leach's comment, is this football team has focused on not getting up and giving up and having bad series. They really want to focus on playing consistently good football regardless of the score.
And the player down is Brandon Sharp, who's had such an outstanding game. Now they've got him up, and he's coming off 3 sacks on the day for Sharp, and it's good to see him up and off the field.
You know, sometimes a player gets a stinger, something that happens to you, and it just takes you a few moments to get your head right, to overcome it. And he'll feel it tomorrow morning, but you can get back in the game with it once you get your head right.
3rd down and 3 for Nebraska in a critical series to start the second half. Lee has room to run, throws, and bombed. Chris Brooks couldn't hold on as Cody Davis decleated him. What a shot.
You know, again, this is one of those hits in the secondary that you work on. You come in. He doesn't lead with the helmet to the head. A good, clean, hard tackle. Now, here's where I disagree. You're down, you know, a lot of points. You're at midfield. It's almost a 2-down territory. I would not want to give the ball up. I'd be going for it.
Zuzalik is deep. I think this says Bo Pelini has confidence in his defense, and he thinks maybe they can hold Texas Tech and have the battle of field position, but you can't afford just to trade back and forth for very long. You're down 3 touchdowns. Two of the top teams in the ACC take each other on tonight on ESPN2. Tyrod Taylor and the Hokies, a tough road test against the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Number 4 against number 19. College football primetime on ESPN2. Texas Tech starts from its own 18-yard line. Sheffield on the crossing pattern. Edward Britton makes his first catch of the ball game and takes it out to the 34, gain of 15 yards. When Sheffield has been really, really good.
All right, you've got one linebacker. That means there are 6 defensive backs in this football game, and you're telling me that 6 DBs can't find somebody to cover a crossing route? Huh? That's just not being mentally in the game.
Everybody but Britton.
Yep.
And Sheffield found him. A young man who has not only shown his accuracy, but his arm strength on a couple of big throws. Pressure here, throws to the outside, incomplete, intended for Detron Lewis on a comeback. Sheffield made his debut as a starter a week ago and threw for 490 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Not a bad start, right?
No.
7 touchdowns.
And Taylor Potts, the guy who had the concussion, the man he replaced, who has similarly spectacular numbers this year. Sheffield to Batch out in the flat. He's driven out of bounds at the 34.
Well, last week, Sticks, Mr. Sheffield, he didn't just lock in on one receiver. He spread the love all over the football field. And his offense and his teammates, they were saying this week, you know, the thing that he does is there's a sense of urgency and expectation. They've got total confidence in Sticks, as they do with Taylor Potts. But the hot hand right now is Sheffield, thus the start.
He set a school record with 370 yards in the first half last week. That's a half.
He didn't even play the fourth quarter or all of it at least.
You can say all you want about systems, but you got to have some skills to throw for that much. Underneath, almost intercepted. Alonzo Dennard with a nice job, stayed right in front of the receiver, had the ball right in his hands. Leong was over his shoulder, and Dennard is down. Boy, and it just goes to from bad to worse for Nebraska right now.
And it looks like that the officials really let these 2 players out here push and tug on each other. Dennard did a nice job of not letting the ball be completed, but again, that's Sheffield seeing one-on-one with his receiver and having confidence that he's got a chance to make the play.
Dennard had that delayed reaction. He looked like he was fine after he went to the ground. He pounded the turf because he was upset about not making the interception, but then he didn't get up.
Oh. Self-induced injury, pound the turf, hurt your muscle in your stomach. I don't know.
You see it all the time in baseball. Guys get hit by line drives, pick it up, throw the runner out, and then collapse. He's obviously in pain.
Yeah. Great job.
We'll see him back in.
How about the defense, though? They did step up, and they stopped Tech and did not let them score.
Erxleben to punt to Niles Paul. Nebraska crowding the line of scrimmage. Are they coming after him? Good protection. Boy, nice kick, too. Paul trying to get to the outside, pursued by a ton of white jerseys. They take him down to 29 after a 10-yard return. Good tackle by Austin Burns, who's the deep snapper on the punt unit.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by John Hancock. The future is yours. And Nissan Maxima, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy.
What a tradition at Nebraska. And will Cody Green be a part of the coming tradition? 6'4", 220, a freshman, is into the ball game. And Green throws on his first play, and it's incomplete to McNeil. The pressure was coming from linebacker Bront Bird. Green from Dayton, Texas, a true freshman, joined the program in January, graduated high school early. He has only thrown 17 passes in his young career for 98 yards.
Well, last week, Bo Pelini almost made this move at Missouri. Decided to stick with Zach Lee, but it's just not working. I agree with this. It has nothing to do with just Zach Lee. It's the football team, but maybe Green gives him a boost.
Well, he stared down his receiver that time and threw a perfect strike to Brandon Kinney, who dropped it.
I said last week against Missouri, you could use the excuse the receivers were poor in that game because of the rain. But I wanted to see if that was real and going to happen in this game here. I mean,
ain't raining, is it?
It's not raining. I have not seen anything that would make you think that there's the potential for balance on Nebraska's offense. I mean, who's going to step up and make a play? You just can't depend on Niles Paul 24. Somebody else has to catch the football.
And step up is the right phrase. Somebody has to if Nebraska's going to have a chance to get back in this game. 3rd and long. And they'll whistle this play dead. They may not have beaten the play
Dead ball
clock.
foul. Delay of game by number 17 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down.
So now it's 3rd and 15. Just what you don't want for a true freshman quarterback, especially considering the Texas Tech defensive ends have had their way in a pass rush today.
Yeah, and Ruff McNeil moving those guys around, linebackers on the inside, experienced veteran guys, forcing a change of call at the line, and the delay of the game occurred.
Green with pressure, rifles it down the middle, tipped, could have been a touchdown and was dropped. Gilliland had a gift as the ball was tipped into his hands. Now it's a tough catch because it's not a spiral anymore. Somebody has hit it. It's got to be going end over end. But still.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you finished making an excuse for him? Gilliland has 6 catches of 25 plus on the season. And we've been saying somebody's got to step up and make a play. That's the play that you get back in the game on.
He had 4 catches of at least 35 yards. That would have been a monster and would have helped so much. Zuzalik on the return. Dives forward to the 40. A 9-yard return. Nebraska with a chance to get its first touchdown, and the big play just evaporates in front of them.
Sometimes a football team, they get in a funk on the sidelines and your mind's not right. You never know when you're going to be the guy asked or given the opportunity to step up and make a big play. And clearly Gilliland, he just started taking off before he had the ball. He said, I have a home run and I'm gone.
You could see his head come up looking to see if there was anybody around that could stop him. There was nobody. But he dropped the ball. Batch swallowed up 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Philip Dillard with a solid tackle. And he may be hurt. Dillard's going to limp toward the sideline.
And hopefully he just looked like he led with his chest, and he hit Batch so hard, probably like knocked the wind out of him.
Crowd trying to get that Nebraska defense to make a play. And down goes the quarterback. Sheffield tripped over the 20-yard line.
We've called Jared Crick's name, Mr. Sue's name. Now we're going Barry Turner, 99 from the outside. The pressure, pocket collapses at the end there. But, you know, this is one of those plays that Sheffield's probably supposed to have let the ball go.
Yes, sir.
Get rid of the football.
He lost 16 yards. Now it's 3rd and a $50 cab ride. Pressured again. Crick just kept coming to passes incomplete. And Sheffield is down. And he comes up limping.
And I think it was Mr. Sue that got out there and delivered a blow. This is one of those shots to the rib cage. That'll make you have to go see the chiropractor on Monday.
Crick had him around the ankles. Sue hit him a little higher. Sheffield is down. Remember, Taylor Potts hasn't been playing because he suffered a concussion, but he's available now. Niles Paul waits at the 45 for the punt. Good kick. Paul trying to get to the outside, turns the corner, but there's a flag down. In the area where you usually get the ubiquitous block in the back. Talking this over after an 18-yard return.
One thing you can say for certain, Nebraska's defense has stepped up. They continue to play.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask by number 26 of the kicking team.
Oh, it'll go the other way.
And it's first down.
Franklin Mitchum, backup safety, called for a face mask. That Nebraska defense trying to make a statement. Somebody needs to make a play on offense as well. Fan in Chicago, Boston, Dallas, Fort Worth, there's a place for you to go to get the latest on the teams you care about the most. Log on to ESPNChicago.com, ESPNBoston.com, and ESPNDallas.com. Local sports, news, radio, highlights, updates, everything you want as a sports fan, it is there for you.
Good move to put Zach Lee back in. That freshman had no shot.
Run the option. The reverse to Paul. Chased out of bounds by Bird.
Holding number 48 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty and replay first down.
Fullback Tyler Legate. Let's check in with Heather.
Guys, you mentioned last week that the coaching staff nearly took Zach Lee out of the game in favor of Cody Green, but Coach Plenty said he looked Zach in the eye and said, "Are you okay?" His answer, "Yes, I'm ready." Then he went back in, threw a touchdown pass, came off the field, sought out his coach and said, "Coach, you got my back, I got your back. We'll win this football game." But Pelini admitted it was risky. He thought that they would mentally lose Zach Lee if he pulled him out of the game. Tells you how important it was today to do it for a series.
Lee comes back on the slant, Heather, and gets about 5 yards that time to Kyrie Cooper, guy that has shown a lot of promise in practice and want to get him more game time. LaRon Moore made the tackle, and one of the things that they are trying to show Zach Lee is give him a different perspective from the sideline on what the defense is trying to do to him by using another quarterback.
Never worked for me. If I went to the sideline and watched the game, I was like, I don't want to go back in there. It's too fast.
They're hitting people.
That's crazy.
Lee has this one batted down at the line of scrimmage, and nothing is going right for that Nebraska offense. Victor Hunter, number 52, a senior, got a hand up.
And you know, I made the comment, Cody Green had no chance. You can clearly see he didn't have a presence. He wasn't going to get him in the right protections. Should have had an intercepted pass. The deflected ball was a potential home run throw. But Zach Lee's their guy. And in this football game here, this drive here, they really needed to respond to the punt return and the defense stepping up for them.
Well, you have to think this is 4-down territory. So you've got 2 shots at making 14 yards. Plus whatever yardage the penalty is going to cost them here as they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
Dead ball foul, a false start by number 65 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down.
65 is the left tackle, Mike Smith. So now it's 3rd and 18, and it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. There are not a lot of play calls for this.
Yeah, I think Bo, he told Heather going in, you know, a comedy of errors, you know, and it's one of those games where you're earning your money as a coach. Like, what in the heck is happening to my players out there?
And it may be a comedy of errors, but nobody on the Nebraska sidelines laughing anymore. Good protection for Lee. Throws the deep out. That may be out of bounds, and it is. It was very close to first down yardage to 15, but one stride too far.
Well, and you know what? Had he completed that, it allows you to go 4-down territory, right? It gets it more manageable. The ball just delivered a little late to the outside, so it just not in sync. This offense I saw a few plays last week against Missouri that were encouraging, but how much of that was just got lucky?
Henry, who has a strong leg, will go from 51 yards. Plenty of distance, but it's wide. This kid, he only misses from 50 yards or more, but was this the right call? You're down by 21 points.
I don't, at fourth and long like that, if you've got a leg that has a chance, which he does, 21-6, sure, 24-6 sure looks a lot better, right?
Good point. The most accurate field goal kicker in the country. Wide right on a 51-yard try, and Ruffin is loving every minute of it. It's a guy you really like as a defensive coach, isn't he?
Loving Ruffin. Big fan of his.
Sheffield gives it to Batch, and Batch back to the line of scrimmage and dragged down by Pierre Allen. He got some help.
But when you look at Texas Tech, as a football fan, just even casual, if you're at home, you always talk about Texas Tech's offense. And this defense, Ruffin McNeil has worked hard on getting them to work together. So all of a sudden now the offense isn't the focal point anymore.
Sheffield, little swing. And you can tell they're just trying to work on the clock right now. Harrison Jeffers takes one out in the flat. You throw that pass. If Jeffers gets away from the defender, picks up 7-8 yards or even a first down, so much the better, but at least you got the clock moving.
It does, and it puts pressure on that one-on-one linebacker to make a play, right? In the open space, giving your ball club a chance for the receiver. So I like the way they're going about it.
3rd and long here. And since the first quarter, they have held that Nebraska defensive line in check pretty well. Sheffield too high on that throw to Detron Lewis. And Texas Tech's offense in this half, -3 yards on 9 plays. But that will make absolutely no difference unless Nebraska's offense gets it going.
And you know what? It's expected of an offense and a team. You can't stay up and on for 60 full minutes. You're going to have your down times. That's when Nebraska has to jump up and make a play.
Niles Paul is the deep man as Erxleben comes on to punt. If you're Nebraska, do you start thinking about maybe coming after a kick block attempt?
Well, you hadn't done anything with it offensively.
Niles Paul on the run, and again, excellent coverage by Texas Tech. They have been down there every time. A 33-yard kick, a 4-yard return, and Marlon Williams with the tackle. ABC Comedy Wednesday at 9, 8 Central Time. Modern Family, the #1 new comedy of the fall. All the critics in all of America can't stop laughing and talking about it. ABC's Modern Family, Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on ABC Comedy Wednesday.
He's pointing to the Husker there. Is that a future Husker? I guess that's why he's pointing to that. Or go Huskers, or?
Well, it's Husker related. You're looking at me for an answer. Good luck. Roy Hellu Jr. across the 40 to about the 43. I'm not bailing you out on that one. It's a crowd desperate to have something to cheer about. Hellu will have the first down up at the 48-yard line.
How about around the country today? Purdue beating Ohio State. Them Buckeyes.
Stunning.
Iowa still rolling along, beating Wisconsin 20-10. Now, Iowa's a good football team. Nothing flashy. It's been 2 or 3 weeks ago we did their game.
That's right.
And Ricky Stanzi, the quarterback, and that defense is better than most people think.
He manages the game very well in that defense. I really like that group. Lee got it outside to Gilliland. And they wanted a flag at the end of the play, and they are incensed on the Nebraska sideline as Jamar Wall made the stop.
Yeah, I'm not sure they don't have a good gripe over there either by a face mask and I thought Ron Bird might have hit him when he was out of bounds.
I think you got both.
Yeah, you've got the face mask and
they got the call on neither. So Texas Tech may have caught a couple of breaks on the same play. Lee has a chance to run. Waited too long to make that decision, then breaks a tackle and dives forward. He is close to the sticks. A couple of times in this game, he has had an opportunity to run with a football, but his focus is looking downfield to throw it.
And you know what? Some of that may need to change, right, Mike? You know, if you can't get it done down the field with your arm, break a 10 or 15-yard run 2 or 3 times and get the linebackers to focus on you and open up the passing game.
Texas Tech shows blitz. They come with it. Roy Hellu grabbed, held, and dragged down. Nice play by Franklin Mitchum, who has worked his way into the starting lineup as a safety. This has been some performance for Texas Tech. Stephen Sheffield, only his second start at quarterback for Texas Tech. He's acquitted himself very well. 208 yards passing. 3-game win streak against Nebraska, going for 4, and the second largest crowd in stadium history today, 86,107, and boy have they been disappointed. Expected an awful lot more out of this game than what they've gotten. I mean, we talked about this before the game started. We weren't sure how this game was going to go, but I didn't expect this.
And certainly Bo Pelini didn't, nor this crowd here, but I will say this about Bo Pelini. I think Bo's got this football team headed in the right direction. He has half the field figured out. He's got the defense going, right? He's now got to come up with an offense. Until he gets that quarterback who can really come out there and take advantage of the defense giving him back the ball, then they're in trouble. But Bo Pelini's attitude is right for Nebraska.
It certainly is, and everybody will tell you he should have been the coach before when they made the change instead of bringing Bill Callahan in here, because Bill changed the entire culture, and it just made it very difficult on this institution to maintain what it had done for 100 years. And Bo Pelini's trying to get back to that. Great defense, run the football, what Nebraska has always done for a century.
Absolute attitude. It all starts with attitude. Pelini and his staff, they're getting the right players in here, but it's, you know what, this offense
doesn't do them any good today, though, does it?
Not at all.
Get the feeling this drive is mandatory. 3:30 to go in this game. They're down 24-3. Flag is down on the play. How many mistakes can they make? How many mistakes will they force Texas Tech to make? This may be on the Red Raiders.
Offside on the defense, the nose guard. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's enough for a first down.
I think you can forget the field goal tries. I don't care if it's 4th and 18. What's the point?
Yeah.
Got to get touchdowns.
Got to get 6 here. You're right. Mandatory is a good way of explaining it.
They have the offensive explosion against Missouri in the 4th quarter. They're going to need it again. Hellu looking for a block. Got it on the corner. He'll pick up about 3 yards. It's quite an effort by Gilliland, number 11 on the outside. Prevented a loss of a couple of yards, maybe. And Texas Tech showing you its speed on defense, because Hellu is a guy who can run.
No, wow, he can absolutely run. But this Texas Tech football team, Benny Wiley is their strength and conditioning coach, who is like their mentor and their dad. You know, and it's dad away from home, and he works them hard. They roll in sand pits. They run all over the place. They're a well-conditioned football team.
Gilliland, flanker screen. Now you've got my interest up. What is rolling in sand pits?
They have a sand pit out back on their football field. It's probably, I'm going to call it 30 yards long and 15 yards wide. And they get in it and roll around, and they do conditioning drills. They run sprints in it. They do agility work in it. And it'd be like going to the beach, theoretically, and running and working out on the beach. And they have punishment in the sand pit. So it's not easy.
Okay.
They don't hand out suntan lotion when you go to it, I promise you.
No umbrellas. Lee with time. Throws underneath. Can they get the first down? It's McNeil, the tight end. He's got enough. The 17-yard line.
Visiting with Ruffin McNeil before the game, he made a point. He was like, you know what, Craig, we can't forget about the tight end at Nebraska. Last week, I thought Missouri fell asleep on the tight end, and McNeil hit him for a touchdown, a big play. And McNeil is the kind of guy that can get you back in a game, but you got to stay focused on that tight end in Nebraska, or he'll get you.
They need this drive to pay off to be down 2 touchdowns going to the fourth quarter. Lee, flanker screen again. Brooks got 1 block, but he needed more, taken down at the 15. You got to hand it to that Texas Tech defense. They haven't been fooled by anything today. LaRon Moore made that tackle.
Get up to the line. Let's go. Nebraska, you got to move it. Come on, fellas. You know, you're down 24-3. The clock's not your friend.
For sure, even with a quarter to go. Last home game without a touchdown, 1968. Lee on the quarterback keeper. Lowers his head and gets to the 11. They need to reach the 7 for a first down.
They snap the ball with 14 seconds to go on the play clock. That's not bad. And again, you want to get a ball and a play off before this quarter ends.
Yeah, you're going to need this time in the fourth quarter
no
if you
doubt.
have any chance. Twelfth play of the drive. And another flag.
Snap. False start by number 78 of the offense. A 5-yard penalty. It is still third down.
Marcel Jones, the right tackle, and Bo Pelini beside himself right now.
But you know what? Bo is a guy that when he really believes something, he's going to give it to you. No problem with Bo Pelini jumping after him.
9th flag against Nebraska, and the third quarter comes to an end. Nine days ago at Missouri, the Huskers were down 12-0. A minute into the fourth quarter, Zach Lee to Niles Paul. It was 12-7. Then Lee found Paul again from 13 yards, 13-12. After another turnover, he hit Mike McNeil for an 8-yard touchdown pass. 3 scores in less than 5 minutes to get the lead. Then late in the game, Roy Heller Jr.'s 5-yard touchdown run completed that impressive comeback win. Can they do it again? They're down 24-3. They need 3 touchdowns just to tie.
And that 12-0 deficit last week felt like 40-0.
It did. So does this one.
Good point.
They need to reach the 7-yard line for a first down. Lee in the gun. Steps up and dumps it off to Marcus Mendoza. Mendoza very close to the sticks.
And a very nice call and great management by Zach Lee. Down in distance, 4-down territory. Get something that gets you manageable for a 4th down try.
You see what they're facing. This is not an offense or a program built to make huge comebacks. The game may be riding right here. They've got to get the first down and keep this drive alive. 2 wide receivers to the top of the screen. They'll run it back the other way. First down at the 5, so it'll be first and goal. And still driving is Marcus Mendoza, the 5'10 sophomore, and a flag down at the end of the play. It's a heck of an effort by Mendoza. Ricky Henry, the starting right guard, maybe the toughest guy on this football team.
That just doesn't make sense. You know, Ricky Henry, what are you trying to do? You're not going to push the pile. It's one thing to have effort, but you got to be smart about the effort.
Yeah, sure do.
You talk about this Nebraska offense. I think it says it all. They've scored 3 points, and with the lateral that they didn't go pursue, fumble picked up by Tech, they gave up 7.
Well, now it's goal to go from the 19-yard line. Nothing has come easy for Nebraska today. Texas Tech jumps, but they're pointing at the left tackle, Mike Smith, saying he moved.
Dead ball foul. A false start. Number 67 of the offense. A 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
And that's the center. They're going to say he moved the ball, and that drew the offense, or drew the defense offside.
How about this nugget here? This drive's taken 7.5 minutes to gain 39 yards. I don't think that's called quick strike.
No, and they can't afford to do it again either, can they? Zach Lee in a monstrous hole right now. First and goal from the 24. Steps up, throws underneath. Mendoza got to the 15. And Texas Tech right now is going to give them all the short stuff that they want. DJ Johnson with the tackle. Now it's 3rd down and goal.
The urgency or lack of by this offense, I just don't get it. Nebraska should be at the line of scrimmage, making calls, changing the pace, the tempo, getting after it, and going.
Not there, is it? Lee steps up in the pocket, still looking, goes underneath. Mendoza makes the catch and only gets to the 14-yard line. Now this is goal to go, remember. Now it's 4th down. You've got to throw the ball for the end zone. You can't dump it off again.
Yeah, you know what, though? You just mentioned, though, Texas Tech's defense really stopped setting back, keeping everything in front of them. The umbrella's at the goal line, catch it in front of them, and then go make the play.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't matter. You got to throw the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, and 24-6 does nothing, right? So you got to come in, put this thing in the end zone.
And look at how much time this is burning. We're almost to 12 minutes here in the ball game. 4-man rush. Lee steps up, goes for the end zone, and throws it way over everybody. And the boos rain down on the home team. "16 plays. The penalties cut it to a net 49 yards. What a day for Ruffin, McNeil, and that Texas Tech defense. The entire world blacked out. Everyone saw a vision of the future. Now the race is on to discover why. The most talked about new drama of the season as ABC's Flash Forward. All new Thursday at 8/7 Central. Love it, love it, love it. You, Craig James, need to see that show.
Yep.
I know you're busy on Thursday night. That's what TiVo's are.
I thought he played for Florida.
TiVo. Batch dives up across the 30. Let's go to Matt Weiner in New York.
All right, Mike Craig is low tech. Time for our AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. BC's Montel Harris is running roughshod over NC State. 244 yards and a school record 5 touchdowns and counting. That game's not over. 45-13. Text vote to 345-345 and cast your vote.
Well, I'll tell you, have there been some surprises today? And this leads the parade right here.
So that in the second half now, Texas Tech has 11 offensive plays for minus, I don't know, what is it? Add up, get an update on the deal.
Plus 3 yards. But it doesn't matter.
I know. It's just
if your defense is playing like this, your offense can just happily sit on that lead. And I think that's a great way to do it. Why take the chance?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sheffield with time floats this one wide. And boy, I have been impressed with Steven Sheffield. He's made a couple of mistakes today, but he's got an arm.
Not making the mistake of throwing a ball that could be pick 6.
Right.
Those kind of plays, very impressive.
It's 18 out of 27. Doesn't have the numbers that he did a week ago, only 208 yards, but you're talking about a team that is one of the top defensive units in the entire country, only giving up 8 points a game. So the numbers may be down, but he's done his job. Wants a little swing here to Batch. And Batch is tossed out of bounds. And he's spun out of bounds by Dillard.
Sheffield, here's a walk-on player that stayed the course. I had a little story told to me earlier today by Chancellor Kent Hance at Texas Tech, who sent Sheffield a note back in the summer and said, look, stay the course. There's a long story, but stay the course and be prepared when your name and number is called. And good motivation for a young man. I admire him for hanging in there, and he's doing the best he can with the opportunity given to him.
Erxleben to punt it away. Niles Paul turns the corner. I like your sources. You go right to the top.
Got to get the big dogs right. You wouldn't want a partner going for something less.
No, sir. I'm proud of you. 16-yard return, Nebraska ball when we come back.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the Ford F-150. Built Ford Tough. Dr. Pepper. Drink it slow. Doctor's orders. And Verizon Wireless, America's largest 3G network.
5 national championships for this great program. The first 2 under Bob Devaney in 70 and 71. Tom Osborne won 3 in the 90s. Osborne currently serving as the permanent athletic director, as the chancellor put it, for the foreseeable future. Mendoza smacked as he got to the 32. And we check in again with Heather Cox. Heather.
Well, Mike Leach is big on tempo and energy and found a creative solution to keep his players on their feet, quite literally. In fact, he ordered 4 of 6 benches on the sideline to be removed. All reserves must stand. And they used to have a sign that said starters only, but now they know the rules, and it is empty down there, guys.
It's a good way to do it, isn't it? Cody Green back in at quarterback as they try to increase the tempo, and he may be a little bit better than that. Mentally, Holt made the catch.
You know, the up-tempo, you stop thinking if you're a receiver and you just catch the football and do something.
Too strong into the end zone. And Green has got that sidearm delivery a little bit. Drops down even below 3/4.
Dayton, Texas. That's just north and east of Houston. Been through there many times. The delivery you're talking about, Mike. I like the way he steps up in the pocket. And I don't care how the delivery is, as long as it gets to the target.
That's right. That's all it really counts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You hear guys talking about throwing over defensive linemen and not wanting to have that kind of delivery, as this one is complete to Brooks for a first down and a flag at the end of the play. But just from a physics standpoint, you got to be about 8 feet tall to throw over people. You have to have throwing lanes to throw through.
8 feet.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that? I've never thought about that.
I do my homework.
By number 16 in the defense. Penalty fine. First down.
Was that all those years with Theismann? He was trying to tell you what he wishes he was?
Right. What do you think I do all week?
8 feet. Now I'm going to have that in my head.
Pressure coming from behind. Pass to the sideline. Going to say incomplete. That was almost intercepted. Jamar Wall had it and couldn't quite hold it. Heck of a defensive play, though.
Well, and you know what? Wall, does he have possession when they come down? They're still juggling for it, fighting for it. I'm not sure he didn't have possession his way.
I thought he did.
I did, too. I'm not so certain. That's not possession. Wall on the ground, ball's dead, and he's got possession. Yeah, I'd review this. That's an interception.
And they will take another look at it.
Previous play, further.
Of course, with one hand in there by the receiver, they might be saying simultaneous possession, and when it's decided, the ball has come loose. But right now, I'm sort of on your side on this.
Yep. Always good to have you on my side, partner.
From 8 feet. Was this a pick or an incompletion as Jamar Wall goes after Antonio Bell and the ball?
I'd love to hear from the replay booth why it wasn't overturned, because it looked like possession by Wall.
It did.
Because he's on the ground. The ball is dead. The play is over. I don't know. Maybe they said he didn't have it by himself the whole time. I don't know.
Green, little shovel pass. Mendoza broke a tackle, got down to the 13-yard line. They need to reach the 8 for a first down. Brian Duncan, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. The clock now a huge enemy for Nebraska. Under 9 minutes and counting. To the end zone, touchdown. The strike to Kyrie Cooper was with his first touchdown of his career. Sidearm or underhand, Cody Green got it there.
From 6 feet or 8 feet, he got it there. Kyrie Cooper, a nice job catching the football, giving him a reason to believe.
Nebraska had gone 264 games without being shut out from a touchdown. They'll extend that to 265 here at home.
Halfway into NASCAR's chase for the Sprint Cup means a trip to Charlotte and a run under the Southern Lights. Teams will have to take a chance if they want to catch points leader Jimmy Johnson on a track where he's captured 5 checkered flags. It's the NASCAR Banking 500. Coverage begins tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Nebraska trying to make it interesting at home. They have closed the gap to 14 points with 8:40 left. Stevens and Zuzalik await the kickoff. A seam up the middle for Stevens. Breaks a tackle, 35-40. 45-40, 6-yard line. Nice return, 40 yards for Eric Stevens, and we check in with Heather.
Mike, to follow up on the benches story, today on the Tech side, 2 empty benches. No one's using them. Conversely, the Nebraska sideline is littered with benches, and all of them are being used. Even after that touchdown, there's no emotion, no energy. The heads are down. Certainly a visual indication of the mental state of where both of these teams are right now.
Good call, Heather, and certainly that's the way Nebraska has been. A lot of this ballgame, they were stunned early by Texas Tech. Batch is the running back behind the freshman behind Sheffield, the junior quarterback. And Nebraska is going to crowd that line of scrimmage as obviously Texas Tech wants to work the clock.
Well, this half, Texas Tech's offense, 4 possessions, 4 punts, 1 net yard. Make that 2 now.
But these have been very conservative play calls, too. They don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, good point.
And let Nebraska back in the game. Batch again. Hit the hole hard that time. And to the Nebraska 48-yard line, they need to reach the 44 for a first down.
You know who will be furious with that graphic is Mike Leach, because he's really worked with his football team about playing the game and execution, and he does not accept punt, hates to punt.
Huge play for that Nebraska defense. They need to force the kick. Sheffield, quick throw. And enough for a first down. Boy, pretty throw, and Leong ran the little quick slant and he hit him.
And you know, the precision of this Tech passing offense, Sheffield, you're going to see 52 Dillard trying to get in the passing lane, and it's a narrow window. Lyle Leong has to keep driving to the ball and to the window, or you don't complete that pass.
And the biggest part of that play, 2 more minutes will come off the clock if you don't gain another foot.
Well, we haven't heard from this guy here, have we? Mr. Sue.
No, he has been shut down here in the second half. They've done a really good job on him. Batch on the draw. Picks up 9. Here's Matt Weiner in New York.
All right, Mike, there is stunned surprise right now in the swamp. Arkansas, which really hadn't done much in the second half offensively. Ryan Mallett to Greg Childs, 75-yard touchdown, and the Hogs lead number 1 with less than 8 minutes to go, but the Gators are driving.
Isn't that something?
Not surprised. Nope.
Of course, Tim Tebow was not Tim Tebow last week, coming off that concussion. Batch again. This time Mr. Sue is right there.
And I say I'm not surprised, Mike, because, you know, you had that emotional game with LSU last week for Florida, so they're primed to go down in a football game against an Arkansas team with Ryan Mallett who can throw the football. But really, this football season, there's one team right now that has dominated and really been impressive, and that's Alabama.
Yep.
Wouldn't you agree?
I do. But I tell you what, I think South Carolina has a legitimate chance. As some people might laugh at that, but I really think they got a shot.
Great point, partner. Stephen Garcia can throw the football.
Yes,
and like Mallett for Arkansas, he can score some points.
And they can play defense as well. And now Texas Tech, as there's a late hit out of bounds. I'm surprised that didn't draw anything. Detron Lewis was pushed by Dejon Gomes. But Texas Tech doing a beautiful job here, just eating up this clock. It's down to 5:10. Nebraska needs 2 scores if nothing else happens here with the Red Raiders. What a huge win for them after 2 losses. Sheffield hit as he throws to the corner. Should have been intercepted right in the hands of Anthony West. And there's a flag down. Is it on West, or is this offensive interference?
Pass interference by number 5 of the defense. 15 yards. It's an automatic first down.
How many mistakes can Nebraska make?
That's what Bo Pelini's wanting to know. And West, number 5, he did put his hands on him.
Oh, jeez.
You know, but it's I mean, that's a...
You can touch somebody, though.
Didn't push him.
No, he didn't.
Can't tell there. Can't see there. But it's certainly not one that Bo Pelini agrees with. West is the number 5 DB on this football team, so he knows how to cover.
Well, that's a killer. It's an automatic first down. They'll go from the 7. They can run 4 more plays. Nebraska has all of its timeouts. They're probably going to have to start using them here.
You know, when you talk about a win for Texas Tech on the road, I think, yes, Tech has beaten Nebraska now. If it continues here, it will be the fourth straight time. They've averaged 47 points a game in those 3 wins. So this Tech football team has a lot of confidence when they play Nebraska, but it's not an easy measure to come into Lincoln and beat Nebraska with the #2 scoring defense in the country.
Yes, sir. Sheffield doing a great job just milking all the time he can off that clock. Give it to Batch again, straight up the middle to the goal line. They'll mark him just short. Well, there was so much optimism here at Nebraska after last week when they escaped against Missouri.
And you see number 10 coming across there, Jeffers in motion. Boy, they're really trying to open up and get the linebackers moving, and then hand it off to Batch up the middle.
3rd and goal. Sheffield. Nice move, sneaks it in, touchdown, Red Raiders. Boy, and that is just the exclamation point on top of a dominating performance.
And you know what? Mike Leach has changed the way they run that quarterback sneak. That has failed them. They would have beaten the University of Houston in Houston if they could have snuck the football in.
You are absolutely
But they're changing it up. He's backing up. They're letting that pinch happen in the middle, and then he's running off the right tackle.
That's a great call.
Well, they paid me to come here and make a few a game, so I got one in today, huh?
Ask for a raise. You're good at this.
It's not going that far.
3:30 to go in the ball game, and Texas Tech has put it away. Bo Pelini on the sideline. He has seen his chances disappear this afternoon against Texas Tech, 31-10. Only 3:30 to go in the ball game. Stranger things have happened, but not much.
Yeah, you see Pelini there. He's arguing with the referee, Cooper Castleberry. You know, trying to get an explanation there on that pass interference in the end zone. And Castleberry's from Lufkin, Texas, right in the neighborhood area in East Texas where I grew up.
Well, I don't think that was even close to interference, but you know, you can point to several things that Nebraska has done wrong today that were far outside of that call. If you're joining us from Penn State, Minnesota, the Nittany Lions win at home in a cold, snow-covered field. And if you're joining us here, Texas Tech has dominated number 15 Nebraska, and they are up now 31-10, having just scored.
How about Penn State just keep moving along? At Big Ten is Ohio State going down today. It's opened up.
Yes, it has. And right now Iowa has the inside track on everybody. They've already won at Penn State. Well, with the win in California, Jimmy Johnson has taken over the lead in the chase, but former champs Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart are right behind as they go for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. And tonight it's the NASCAR Banking 500 at Lowe's Motor Speedway at 7 Eastern on ABC. Texas Tech will raise its record to 2-1 in the Big 12. And Nebraska will lose its second game, having been defeated by Texas earlier this year. Dewhurst knocks that one down. And I think probably the biggest thing that Texas Tech is going to be happy about today is how well its defense played.
Ruffin McNeil's group, just like that play there. Brett Dewhurst puts his hand on the inside, slaps the ball down. Just a well-played game by their D.
Pressure coming on Cody Green. Forced out of the pocket. Now he's got to run. And Green slides out of bounds at the 42.
How about this stat for the day, though? Maybe even for the year. Stephen Sheffield, Texas Tech quarterback, 11 carries, minus 32 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And he's looked good on the sneaks, too. That's what what happens. You start counting those plays where he's caught behind the line of scrimmage. Green goes down back at the 39.
Well, you know, you summarize this game for those who just joined us. It has been a Texas Tech defense that dominated Nebraska's offense. It's been a Tech offense in the first half, very efficient, looked pretty good out there. And Nebraska, I think maybe, Mike, you know what, maybe they came in here not really respecting Texas Tech's football team.
Could be right.
There's no other way you can explain the lack of execution and the goofiness that they've had out there.
Because Texas Tech defense had been manhandled a couple of times, but not today. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, that Sheffield and Sharp combo today, offensively, defensively. Early in the game, this was a touchdown to the running back, Baron Batch, out of the backfield. Sheffield then with a quarterback sneak, not right behind the center, but backing up, going over to the right tackle. Zach Lee just had nowhere to go. Tech's defense, they pushed him to the middle of the field. He couldn't see down the field. There was coverage by the secondary. An excellent football game with the offense and defense. And remember what we said in our meetings with the coaches this week, Mike? We said, you know what, it feels like Texas Tech's football is playing as a team now.
Yes.
Not offense, defense, but a football team.
Yep. And that's critically important if you're going to have a great year. The injured player is Brandon Sharp, who has 4 sacks today. No wonder he was laying down. You'd be tired too. It gives him 8 for the year. The team has had 5 today. He's had 4 of them. Great job, Brandon. 8 for the year. Now 4th and long for Cody Green in that Nebraska offense, trying to keep any semblance of hope alive with 2:55 left in the game. And Green throws a bullet over the middle. Holt to the 32. Gain of 29. This young man's got a good looking arm.
You know what I like? I like the fact that the kid stepped up in the pocket and kept his eyes downfield.
Under pressure here. That one sails high. Intended for Kyrie Cooper.
You know, and when Bo Pelini evaluates his football team and his quarterback position, these are positive signs from a true freshman. The awareness to step up, deliver a strike, the inconsistency of the last ball he just threw. He's got to complete that to the flat, you know, but that's a true freshman for you.
Sure. He's only had the benefit of spring practice once coming out of high school. Came in to join the program early, as so many kids have started to do. Green again under pressure, steps up, throws to the sideline, bobbled and caught by Brooks. And those remaining here at Memorial Stadium with a tepid round of applause.
I tell you who's under evaluation right now. It's the quarterback position, because this offense, save and except last week's fourth quarter comeback win, has been nothing.
I'd be really surprised if given a full week of practice, and if he performs well there, that Brooks will not be the starter.
You've got a defense that is capable of competing for the Big 12 North. Okay.
True.
Now you have to figure out how you can help them, and you don't have to hit a home run all the time offensively when you got a great defense, but you got to score points.
They would be facing Iowa State and Baylor in their next 2. If you're going to make a change, it's not a bad time to make a change. Green picked. Well, Texas Tech just refuses to give in to that Nebraska offense. Franklin Mitchum, the safety,
and this
cut
is
across.
Yeah, this is that robber, that guy that just hangs around in the weeds back there, that a true freshman's not expecting to come up and doesn't see the whole field and realize there are a lot more white jerseys than just the one trailing a receiver.
And Bo Pelini, who was so optimistic coming into this game, and why not? His team had pulled off basically a miracle comeback in a downpour at Missouri. A game that you saw and were really, and I think rightfully, impressed by their offense and by what Zach Lee was able to do in the fourth quarter. But you just have to wonder after this, and it was physically and psychologically, I think this is a huge loss for Nebraska because they were dominated by Texas Tech. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I think, if they think about their quarterback situation, it's going to be really hard because you've got Iowa State and Baylor. There are no gimmies in college football anymore. That's a factor, man. That is true. And so when you look at this football team, they do have the defense. They've got to come up with offense. I think I'm taking from this football game that Texas Tech has figured it out.
I agree
Offense,
with you.
defense, special teams, they played well together. If they can remain competitive at practice and focused, then this is going to be a good football team the rest of the year.
I think today is a huge positive for Texas Tech and a huge negative for Nebraska.
Yeah, you're right. Man, I think we both expected a lot more out of Nebraska today.
Absolutely.
And so if we felt that way, they did.
Sure. And based on what had happened, you could understand why. And on the other hand, you get the feeling that Texas Tech, even though they were saying, Sheffield had played so well and they're playing together as a team, had to be really apprehensive about coming in here.
Against the #2 scoring defense in the country. Yes. And so I wanted to see if Sheffield could handle it. Early in the game, his receivers made some plays for him that kept drives alive, gave him some confidence at quarterback. So, yeah, I thought it was a very solid performance by Stephen Sheffield in the second half of not making a mistake and understanding the game.
And we talked about Ndamukong Suh and what a dominating player he is. Maybe the best player in college football, not just a defensive lineman. And he had really some great moments early in this ball game. But after that, Texas Tech's offensive line, I thought, did a great job of keeping him under control.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Carter did a heck of a job out there. Chris Olsen stepped in and had to play for Terry McDaniel at left tackle after he got hurt and went out of the ball game. Now, make no mistake about it, Jared Crick and Ndamukong Suh are really good players.
Very nice.
Holy cow, I can't believe my brain even went there to say that. Mr. Suh.
Very nice.
I don't want to get too cocky over here and again, feeling my oats. But those two players are outstanding football players, and if they had guys on the other side of the ball who could match their talent level, Nebraska would be a lot better football team.
Sheffield on the delay is all they want to do is keep the clock rolling. And they're not going to have to snap it again. Second largest crowd in this venerable stadium's history. And almost every one of them is going to walk away disappointed with what happened to this ball club today.
None more disappointed than Mr. Suh and his family, because the guy was up on the Heisman radar, and today's loss really knocks that out.
Both teams with 2 losses in the conference. A new day dawns in the Big 12, and everybody back in the race. Glad you could join us from Lincoln, Nebraska. A great day for Big 12 football. The final score once again, Texas Tech 31, Nebraska 10. For Craig James and Heather Cox, our entire crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Now we send you to the studio.